What a wild game McKinney North had against Prosper. Combined between the two teams, over 100 points scored in the ball game. They come out just on the wrong end of it, 59-48. I'm joined by their head coach, Mike Fecci. And Coach, I have to be very pleased with the offensive effort, scoring 48 points against Prosper, but you give up 59, and really in the second half, both teams were out of gas in that game.
They were. Yeah, I was very proud of our offense, going out and scoring points like they did. Defensively, early on, we played really, really well. We started the game with 4 3-and-outs. In credit Prosper, they started doing some stuff that gave us some issues, and they're a good football team. They're a good offense, and we're not going to be the only people they score over 50 on this season. I can promise you that. But we had a chance in the end. That's all you can ask for in a game like that, is to have a chance. It didn't work out for us, but all in all, it was a great ball game. I know the fans enjoyed seeing it because it was one of those fun ones to watch as a fan, and as a coach, it'll give you a brain aneurysm in a hurry. But at the same time, there's a lot of lessons we can take from that game, and that's kind of the message to them after the game was these non-district games are to learn about ourselves and to find out about ourselves. And we found out a lot about ourselves. A lot of our kids have never been in a situation like that before, and now they have been. So we're going to use that to our advantage, and it'll pay off for us down the line.
Well, it's early in the season, so we're still trying to get everything with the highlights worked out. I know with Coach Smith earlier with McKinney, we had some trouble. I also had some trouble with yours. So we'll go ahead and talk about what happened in the game. In the first quarter, you take an early lead in that game. Your defense forced a lot of 3-and-outs, but then Prosper started to get it rolling.
Yeah, they did. Like I say earlier, we played really well defensively. We forced 4 3-and-outs at the beginning, and we were playing great defense at the beginning. Our offense was kind of slow coming out of the gate. We had a couple 3-and-outs. We turned the ball over a few times there early, which gave them a little momentum, but we were still hanging in there. We went up 7-0. They came back and answered, and then it just turned into one of those all night long thing. We were just chasing points. And really what it came down to was we had 3 turnovers. They had 1. We jumped off sides defensively in some critical situations, gave them a free first down. And it really came down to those plays right there in the end that kept us from being on the W side of it. But proud of our effort.
You're using that 2-quarterback system, and Gabe Constantine got a lot of looks in the first quarter at quarterback. Had a couple of nice throws downfield, a couple of 20-yard-plus gains, but then he did throw that interception. You start to go to Ben Ducey in the second quarter, and he really had a nice night. Was 20 of 26 in the game for 189 yards, 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah, they both played well. And that's what's nice when you have a 2-quarterback system is that you can go in there and they both do different things well. And what we did was we stayed with that system. Then when we felt like Ben was getting hot, you go with a hot hand. At the same time, I was really proud of the way both of them played and led, and the decisions that they made. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing for us to have 2 guys like that because they're good players.
Second quarter, you're down 21-7. A touchdown pass from Ducey to Sanders. Trey Sanders makes it 21-14. They score again. Then Ronald Jones scores a 46-yard touchdown run. They get a field goal before the end of half, so it's 31-21 at halftime. At that point, how are you feeling?
Well, it felt pretty good, except for the fact that it was 21-14, and we got a 3-and-out. We stopped them and forced them to punt. And as they were fixing punt, in my mind, I thought, okay, we're going to get it. We're going to score. It's going to be 21-21 going into the half. And unfortunately, the kid bangs a punt really, really deep. One of our punt returners tried to make a play on it, and then fumbled it, and they get it, and then they go in and score. So that was a 14-point swing in my mind. Not that one play lost the game for us. That's not what I'm saying. But that was a big pivotal turning point for us right there. And then, like you say, then it was just a back-and-forth battle all night long. And it came down to, they stopped us on 4th down late in the game, and we didn't stop them. And that's what it came down to. But all in all, again, I'm real proud of them.
They started to stretch their lead out in the third quarter, up 38-21 at one point. But Ronald Jones really kept you in the game. He only had 11 carries on the ground. But for 217 yards and 4 touchdowns. A big night once again, both back-to-back weeks of 200 yards plus rushing.
Yeah, and you asked me before the show, same thing a lot of people asked me, and a lot of people wonder, well, if he had 200 yards on 11 carries, why did he only carry 11 times? And the answer to that is that's what Prosper was doing. Prosper packed in the box early in the game. They were not going to let Ronald Jones get his 200 yards. And so in turn, they had to play some things in the secondary that we were able to take advantage of. We were able to throw the football. And as we started completing those, they loosened up a little bit, which then allows Ronald to have the plays that he made. And that's what we like about what we're doing offensively now is that we feel like that we put people in a little bit of a dilemma. Do you want to pack in there and try to stop Ronald and Trey and those guys from running it? To do that, you got to go some single coverage. And if you go single coverage, hopefully we can get the ball over the top a little bit and get some one-on-one route combinations working. And when we started doing that, now they've got to decide what do they want to do. And I thought Coach Harden did a great job of mixing up our tempos. Some of Ronald's biggest runs came on. We completed a big pass, ran down there, snapped the ball before they were ready to go, and Ronald pop it and go. But all in all, great night for our offense. There's things we can get better at. There's no doubt about it, but a good night for the offense.
You were able to get the score early in the fourth quarter. They were up by 10 points, 45-35. You get an 83-yard touchdown run from Ronald Jones, cuts the lead to 3 with 9:48 left. And at this point, you're thinking, it's going to come down to the very end. And Prosper was able to get a couple of scorers, and then unfortunately your team just wasn't able to keep up. Had to go for a couple 4th and 4 situations. Weren't able to convert on all of them.
Yeah, when we scored to be down by 3, I really felt like all we needed was one stop, and we did. That's all we needed to do, and we didn't get it done. But to our offense's credit, they came back and they answered the call again. Where we had an opportunity to kick an onside kick, late in the game and things like that. Actually, 2 of them. Like I say, that's one of those games you can really learn from, and we're going to learn from that. And that game will benefit us down the line somewhere, I can promise you that.
This is a big physical Prosper team that you're facing. They're dominant on the offensive line, and it showed with their running attack, not only with Chase Dawkins, the quarterback, able to use the quarterback draw so effectively in the game. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, and Marquez Houston, 25 carries for 230 yards, and he scored 3 touchdowns himself. Most of those were in the first half. He had some big runs.
He did. He had some big runs. They were able to control the line of scrimmage up front, and we were worried about that going in. We talked last week on the show about that being a worry of ours, and they were able to do that. At times we made good plays, and at times we didn't. But that kid's a good running back. He's strong, powerful, and physical, and once he gets in the open field, he's tough to tackle. And there was a few times we didn't do well with that. And in fact, one of his touchdown runs, I don't remember how long it was, but it was a real long one where he broke a tackle at the line of scrimmage. And we had him there for a no gain, and he breaks a tackle and goes and scores.
66 yards.
There you go, 60. So I knew it was long. But at the same time, again, I keep going back to this and saying it. These are all things that we can improve on. These are all things that our kids on defense, 1 returning starter. 1 kid, and we never played in a game like this last year. So even that kid, with the experience he had, never played in a game like this, to where it comes down to the most minute little details, separates the winner from the loser. And, we'll learn from it. We'll move on. And, but like I say, I keep going back to it. I'm so proud of their heart, proud of their effort. Boy, they would have kept playing. The clock went to 0. They would have kept going if we were ready to go and all that. But at the same time, we'll learn from it. But we got to tackle better in the open field for sure.
Up front on defense, you're banged up right now. You had to switch around a lot of different pieces in this game. That's one of the reasons you had so much trouble stopping Prosper.
It was. We started the year, as I was telling you before the show, with 6 defensive ends, 4 defensive tackles on the varsity. Now we're down to 1 defensive tackle and 3 defensive ends, and we had to move one of those defensive ends inside to play defensive tackle this week, and then he got hurt, so then we had to move another one in there who hadn't had any reps at it all week, and none of those are excuses. That's just reality. It is what it is, but at the same time, we learn from it. We need to get some of those kids healthy. We need to get them back with us, because when we're at full strength, we like our chances. But at the same time, those guys, when they get opportunities, got to rise up and make plays. And they did for the most part, but there was a few breakdowns. But, stuff we can fix, stuff we can get better at.
Next week, you go on the road to take on Frisco Centennial, a tough team. They had a deep playoff run last year. New quarterback, a receiver that moved to quarterback, Kelly Cordova, for their team. He had a nice night against Lake Dallas last week, 290 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. Also ran it 9 times for 107 yards. He's that dual-threat guy, a former receiver, so he's shifty. How do you stop him?
Well, I think they're a lot like Prosper in regards to the fact they don't do a lot of things on offense. They just do them really well. He's a very good football player. He's a smart football player. When you watch him play, it's hard to believe he wasn't a quarterback last year. He does not look like a kid that used to be a receiver. He looks like a kid that's always played quarterback. Makes good decisions, takes care of the football. Their offensive line is once again, big kids. That move their feet well. They got 2 running backs in their 2 running back system. They got 1 kid that's kind of a bowling ball kid that'll run you over, and they got another one that looks like a track star. So they have a 2-headed monster there. At receiver, they've got multiple receivers that catch the ball well. They're a tough challenge for us, but it's one I think our kids, after talking to them this morning, are excited about. You know, we've got a history with Centennial. We've played them a number of times in the last 5 years, including the playoffs in 2011, and so our kids are familiar with them. It's going to be, you know, fun to get over there and play these guys. Our theme this week is let's go out and get better. Let's improve on what we need to improve on, and get us a win going into the off week, and you know, going the off week at 2-1 is the goal.
Well, that's what these early non-district games are about, always trying to get better. Coach, thanks so much for stopping by
Thanks
once
for having
again.
me. Appreciate it.
Mike Fecci and his troops will head into Frisco Centennial, and they'll try and improve on their 1-1 record. Both teams 1-1 going into the game, so a lot of early season tension going into it. Both teams looking to pick up that second win on the year.